Okay, here we go. Here we go, folks. You know, I'm always talking about hot topics. You know, I'm always getting into discussions. You know, I'm always digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And this time we're coming back to the AI world because there's so much conversation. There's so many concerns. There's so many people that have a lot of questions. And a lot of people are becoming very seriously concerned over this AI world. Thank you guys. Anybody joining in, thank you guys. And we're going to talk about this. The topic for tonight is going to be, is AI hurting us or is AI actually helping us in the world, in our global economy? Is it helping Americans? Is it helping people? Is AI technology, the apps, the systems, the software, the integration, the agents that are running, the tasks that are running, the unbelievable research that you could do with AI technology, and is it actually helping us or is it hurting us? That's the hot topic for tonight, and we're going to get into it because we all know, by the way, my name is David. I've been in the technology, software, AI technology world for 37 years. I'm also an artist, a professional artist of 18 years. And I also do websites and everything else. And I'm a broadcaster and all this other stuff. So we don't need to hear my boring history. But anyways, let's get into this topic because this is always, I always somehow come back to AI. And this tonight, it's about analyzing, is it actually helping us or could it be possibly hurting us in some way? And so when we look at the base core, when we say, give us the top 7 AI technologies out there, we all know what they are: ChatGPT, Gemini, OpenAI, Claude, all these other technologies that can layer on each other, and then all these other systems that are AI based that can integrate into applications, that can integrate into your systems, that can integrate into your everyday tasks, that can integrate into your workflow processes, that can integrate into a lot of different things: email systems, website systems, all kinds of stuff. And so, is this technology, are the massive AI data centers that are running every day of the week, are they actually helping us? Or could they at some point be hurting us? Or are they hurting us right now, today? Because that's what everybody has concerns over, especially for their young children. The real concern that AI is taking over their life because they're relying on AI too damn much. And I'm not blaming any hardworking, wonderful parents out there. It's not your fault. It's not something that you're doing wrong. We all, as parents, I'm a parent, you're a parent, everybody's out there that has children, we understand the risks. We understood the risk when we used to let them use the internet. We understood the risk when we let them use social media platforms. We understood the risk when we let them do chats all day long. We understood the risk when we let them scroll on all these platforms. We understood the risks. But now we're in a different world. We're in my world, where I came from. This is the world where I came from. So now we're in a different situation. And so let's turn to more of a polite piece of this segment and say, can it be helpful? Can it actually help people today? Can AI apps, systems, processes, integration, and the actual software, and turning it on your iPhone, turning it on your iPads, turning it on your computers, your desktops, your servers, whatever it is you're using at this moment in time, turning it all on and letting it help you or assist you, is that a good thing? That's the topic for tonight. Is it helping us or is it hurting us? That's what we're getting into tonight. And so we're staying on a light note right now because there are some good things. Can it help us do research almost on any topic? Yes, it can. Remember, folks, I only work in facts. I don't like any BS. I don't like any nonsense. I don't like any noise. I don't like any fake news whatsoever. I only work in facts. Can it actually help us all do massive research? Yes, it can. And I was having a problem. I'll give you a simple example of why it could help us. I was having a problem with one of my Macs, my Mac Mini, and I love that thing. It's not a problem with the Mac Mini. The Mac Mini runs fantastic. I'm not a spokesperson for Apple, but that's one of my devices, and I love that thing. So I'm not picking on Apple or Mac Mini. I'm just saying I had an issue with my Mac Mini, and what happened was I had a number of storage devices connected to it. And all my storage devices were working good, except the new one I just added. I added 1 more terabyte to the mix. And I used a USB-C cable and plugged it into the front of the Mac Mini, which has the ability to run storage devices off the front ports. If you didn't know it, it does have that. So my new storage device was running like slower than molasses. It was running so slow I couldn't even get anything done. I couldn't move files. I couldn't save anything. I couldn't do anything with this brand new drive that cost me a fortune for a 1 terabyte drive added to my Mac Mini, an external drive, SSD. Now, I started to open up AI tools and said, do the research on my external storage unit. And it did all the research. I said, now do the research on my actual SSD drive. It did the research. I said, is there a compatibility issue here? Am I not streaming this thing right? Is it not connecting right? Am I not getting 10 megabytes per second or 50 megabytes per second, whatever the case may be? What is bogging my external drive down on my Mac Mini? Why am I getting killed on this one drive? I have 3 other drives. They work fantastic. They're lightning speed. But I got this one brand new drive that cost me a fortune, and it's just not working. And so the AI tools started analyzing and breaking it down step by step by step by step by step by step. We did test after test after test after test. And we figured out, we determined it wasn't the SSD drive. It wasn't the external storage device. We saw a bottleneck between the storage device and the Mac Mini. And what does that give you conclusion on? Something is screwing up in the wiring. The interface that's interfacing into the Mac Mini front ports that can handle storage devices really well, that cord was damaged and I didn't know it. There was no signs on the outside of any kind of damage whatsoever, but it was damaged. And what it did was it caused the links to not work right, and it slowed the drive down to almost like 10 megabytes per second or something. It was like 10, 20 megabytes per second. It was so slow, you wanted to jump, you wanted to just like smash the device. I have to be careful what I'm saying here. So my point is, was AI helpful to my extensive research on the problem with my Mac Mini and my external drive? Yes, 100%. Did it analyze and scope out the problem? Yes, we did. with 100 different questions, analyzing every angle, analyzing the drive, analyzing the storage, analyzing the external, analyzing the integration to the Mac, analyzing every piece of the puzzle, we were able to uncover that there was a bad cable in the mix. I unhooked the cable. I put a brand new Apple cable from my Mac Mini to the device, and it was lightning speed. It was faster than my other drives plugged in. Now, I'm a technology expert. I knew kind of like the road I should travel down to analyze this thing, but I wanted to do it faster, quicker, better. And so I turned on an AI tool to help me analyze the problem. And this part of the segment, I'm actually saying for all the people that are doing research and using these tools for research and doing tools to help you in your life, this was a good thing. So was it helpful? Did it help us? Did it provide some support and help to us? Yes, it did. It saved me hours and hours of research on this crazy new drive that I bought that had 1 terabyte on it. And I was very happy because within, I'd say, an hour to an hour and a half of playing around with this logic, we scoped it down to the damn cable. The cable was the problem. It was damaged. So AI and myself, methodically going through step by step, we analyzed it and we figured out the answer. So back to the question, is AI helping or hurting us? Well, in this exact example, it actually helped us. So I would say congratulations for everybody that's using AI tools to do massive amount of research. It will help you. Let's say you had an oven break down. I'm just using simple examples, folks. Thank you for all the love. Let's say you had an oven break down, like you're cooking a roast. And it doesn't matter if you're a guy or gal. This ain't pointed to guys or gals. I cook every day. So I treat myself just like equals to anybody else. So we don't say, well, the woman was cooking food or the guy was cooking food. It doesn't matter who was cooking the food. We're cooking a roast. And you're starting to cook the roast, you need 400 degrees or 300 degrees to cook it at a simmer, and you want the roast to cook for like 3, 4, 5 hours, and you want the oven to work right. And let's say you power on the oven and nothing happens. Now, I know something about ovens. You guys are smart people. You guys know something about ovens, but we're not experts. I'm not experts on all the technology out there in the world. Some of these ovens have tricky technology. They have computerized technology. And so if you went to an AI tool and said, here is the model, here's the brand, here's the year I bought this thing, here's everything there is to know about this oven, what the heck is going on with my 400, 300 degree temperature? Why isn't this thing firing up? And it would say, okay, take step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. And you would slowly analyze, oh, okay, maybe I had a computer glitch on my brand new high-tech oven that's controlled by computers. Some ovens are not controlled by computers. So they have, switches or turning switches that turn things on and off. So some people are not computerized. They're just gas ovens or electric ovens. So it's not real complicated. But some of these brand new ones are all technology. Thank you guys for all the love and support. Thank you guys. So you do the research. All of a sudden, you find out there was a little glitch. You reset the damn oven. You unplug it, plug it back in. You fire it up. You set a couple of buttons. You reset things. All of a sudden, you've got your 300 degree temperature and you're cooking your roast. Was that helpful to you? Yes, it was, because it saved you a hell of a lot of time trying to do research on this damn oven that's super high tech. So it was helpful. So using the AI technology as massive research engines that can analyze and research anything for you. And by the way, when it comes to results, if you're the type of person that believes everything that anyone tells you, like, for instance, your small devices whether they're Alexa or whether they're, Siri. And I'm not picking on either one. They're both great devices. So we're not picking on products. I'm just saying, if you're the type of person that asks one of these devices a question and you trust everything it says, you're in deep trouble. Now, if you ask a simple question like, what's the weather? You know what? New York was playing baseball tonight. What was the score? There was a fight. What was the score? Who won the fight tonight? I'm trying to cook some eggs, and how do you make sunny side up eggs? Simple questions, simple logical questions, those devices can answer in lightning speed, and they're pretty accurate. Ask them a tricky question, then it becomes very different. So don't always buy into all these devices and what they can tell you. Be very careful on when you ask a very serious question, like, for instance, I have this mark on my face and it's purple. And what are your thoughts? And it says, well, it could be, you were eating grapes yesterday and it could put a purple mark on your face. I wouldn't trust that for a second. Not a second. I'd be calling up my doctor saying, hey, this is getting purple and it's getting a lot worse and it's affecting my skin. What is going on? I wouldn't trust AI to tell me what the hell my skin was doing. Now, if you could use it and say, as an example, I have a friend that I saw was a purple dot on their face, and I'm a little bit concerned. AI, what are your thoughts about what action I might take? And it might say, do A, B, C, D, E, but call a physician. Okay, if you're using it that way, might be helpful. If you're asking it directly, as a medical doctor, what would you say about this purple mark on my face? I would run. I would start running as fast as I can. Don't ever trust that stuff. It isn't that smart. It doesn't have all the answers. So we're getting back to, let's get back on point here. We're drifting a little bit, but that's okay because we're talking about AI technology tonight. We're talking about, can it help you? Is it really helping us, or is it actually hurting us? And so I've given you a number of examples how it's helping us. It's good technology. It can help us a lot. Now, let's say you were doing research papers and you said, I need to understand what happened to the Civil War and who really was benefiting on both sides. Like what were the generals and how did they navigate that war and who really benefited on the strategies that they used? And you're doing research paper on that and you needed a little more information and you're using AI technology to pull that information about the Civil War, but you're not going to rely 100% on what the hell they tell you, but you're going to use it and navigate through some research papers that say, okay, this happened in 17, blah, blah, blah. It happened this way. And in this battle, Gettysburg Address, in the Battle of Gettysburg or the Battle of, or some other battles, you can then use the strategy and use some of the information. Don't copy it verbatim. Use it as research and then put it in your own words. The one thing that I know that schools hate with a passion is anybody using AI tools to answer quizzes or using AI tools to do tests. They hate that with a passion. They don't want anybody using AI tools to do tests. So we get back to, can it be very helpful? Yes, we're still on this helpful thing. We're still guiding down this helpful road. Let's say you're putting together a new computer system and you say, you know what? My desktop or my laptop or my iPad is like 6 years, 7 years old. I really need to upgrade. I need an upgrade. Hey, AI, And I don't care which AI tool you use. They're all helpful. So I'm not picking any one to give you examples of. I'm using generic AI technology. Hey, you know what? I need a 2026 laptop. I need a 2026 desktop. I need to be able to do several things. I do documents. I do emailing. I do research on the websites. I do some coding. I need the thing to be able to be a powerful gaming system. So not only can I do all my other tasks, I need it to be able to perform gaming like you've never seen before. So what are your top 3 recommendations for my specific needs? And it will break it down and it will say, this computer A is this computer B is this computer C is this. And since you're talking about desktops, I recommend you go to an RTX 5080 graphics card because it will perform the way you need it to perform in gaming. Or I need you to go to a 5090 model, or I need you to go to a 96, AMD 9060 or 9600 graphics card to run your gaming. So it will break down for you in logical form the 3 top models. Now you could choose to listen to it, or you could choose to walk away and say, I'm getting it myself anyways. I'm going to go to Micro Center and I'm buying my own system or I'm building it. So I don't really need your help, but thank you for giving me some suggestions. And especially if you're running like other technology, like iPads and iPhones and stuff like that, and you have certain needs. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And you have certain needs. And maybe you had an iPhone that's like an iPhone 11. And you say, it doesn't even work anymore. I could barely press the buttons. I got to upgrade. What's your best recommendation? Should I go to iPhone 17 or should I wait for iPhone 18 new model coming out? And it'll break down the logic and tell you what phone you should be going to. Well, based on what you're using it for, how many apps? You got 25 apps on the iPhone that you're using on a daily basis. And plus you're doing all the social media. Plus you need all this camera work on the outside as you take your walks. You need these high resolution cameras. I'm recommending you wait for the iPhone 18 from Apple, and it's coming out in December. So it doesn't mean all the information it gave you was 100% true, but it's pretty logical and it's pretty believable, and you can trust pretty much that saying that. Now, is it coming out in December? No one on the planet knows that. But my point is, it can help you. So back to the subject. Is it helping us or hurting us? There's examples of how it's helping us. You walk into a bathroom and you look on the floor, and the floor is beautiful tile, like this modern, gorgeous tile. And you see a puddle of water sitting on that tile. And you're saying, what the heck? Did somebody turn on the faucet and never turned it off and just, closed the sink drain and just let the water overflow and hit the floor? No, that was never the issue. One of the actual tubes underneath the sink, one of the copper lines or one of the brass fittings or one of the plastic fittings got a little loose and the water's pouring out and it's dripping onto it's dripping on the floor, and the floor is covered in water. And maybe you don't know a lot about plumbing, and maybe you don't want to pay a $250 plumber an hour. So you might go online real quick and say, hey, I've got a Kohler faucet. It's Kohler. I've got this kind of vanity. I have these copper pipes hooked up to these brass fittings. And let me take a picture. Click. Let me send you the picture. Look at how the water is flowing out. What is your recommendation? And the AI is going to analyze everything and say, oh, you have Kohler model 72593. And yeah, in that year when that faucet was built, those fittings were funny about those bottom fittings on the lines coming in. And every once in a while, they started leaking. So here's the 3 recommendations we recommend before you call the plumber. Now, can you fix the fittings yourself? It's very possible. I've done it 100 times, so you can do it. But if you don't feel comfortable, still call the plumber. Don't let the water keep going on your floor. But did AI help us? Yes. Did AI assist us in recommendations? Yes. Did it analyze what kind of faucet you had with Kohler faucets? I'm not picking on Kohler, by the way. I love Kohler. So it wasn't a pick on Kohler faucets. I could have named any faucet, standard, like American Standard. I could have picked any kind of faucet. I'm just saying any kind of faucet you have, I was just using that as an example. You could have had a problem and you use AI tools to help you analyze the problem and then make recommendations. So did it help us once again in that scenario? Yes, it did. Now, let's say you like style. Let's say you're a guy or a gal and you love style. You love to be able to dress in modern day today and have grace and style and have these wonderful outfits. And maybe you like the colors red and yellow, or maybe you like the colors blue and gray. Doesn't matter what color scheme you like, but you just love styles. But you want to know what the latest is, like what's happening in the UK in the latest styles, what's happening in Paris with the latest styles, what's happening with some of the latest things, the latest trends and style and format and look and feel and color combination. What is that? You use an AI tool to invoke that kind of conversation, and you give it enough instructions. You give it a ton of instructions of how you want this thing to analyze it. It analyzes and says, you know what, in Paris, they just came out with a nice color scheme that had a little bit of gray, a little bit of white, and a little bit of blue. And let me show you some fashion designs in that style. Now, in the US, they were doing more trends with browns and greens. Now, in the UK came out with a new scheme on style and clothing lines, and they're using more of the soft tones of browns. So then you could get an idea of how you want to go to your stores and buy your clothing. You know, I'm looking for these certain kinds of designs and certain kinds of styles, and I've used my AI technology to give me several examples of what I should be looking at. Can it do the research? Can it analyze it? Yes, it can. It can help us. It can do it. Is it getting better at it? Yes. Is it perfect? No. Is it going to get it right every time? Hell no. But does it do a pretty good job to help us? Yes. So is it helping us? Yes. So we're staying on the positive side, because we're crossing over to the other side. There's truth, and then there's BS, and then there's falsehoods, and then there's lies. And so we're in the truth section of the AI conversation today. What is true about AI technology? But we're going to get much deeper in this conversation. Thank you guys for hanging in. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for all the love and support. Thank you for all the feeds that are coming in. I can see them coming in from all directions. So thank you for that. I run on multiple platforms, so I have my screens. And forget my background because it sucks. Because we're in construction right now and we're trying to build this thing out, my studio. So my studio is in like turmoil. And so I threw up one of my paintings just to add some kind of color in the background because it sucks. I'm the first one to say that. We're not done with the studio. We don't have the walls up yet. And I hate broadcasting this way because I love gorgeous backgrounds and everything, but we'll get there. We're getting there. I had it, like 4 weeks ago, my beautiful background, until we tore the whole set out and we're rebuilding it. But anyways, let's get back to the topic. Is AI helping us or hurting us? That's what it's all about. And you guys know we have some incredibly talented and smart people on this platform. So you folks know what I'm talking about. The things you can do and the things you can invoke and the things you can try and the things you can get answers for and the things you can research and the things that you can really look into. For instance, I'm not a camera expert. I'm a technology expert, but I never called myself a photographer or a camera expert. I know nothing about cameras, meaning I know AI, I know iPhone technology, and I know that one of the cameras can do 12 megabits or 12 megabytes per second or whatever the hell it does, but the camera has great resolution and all this other stuff. I know that. But if you said, Dave, do you actually understand a Sony camera, a high-tech Sony camera, or a high-tech Canon camera, or a high-tech Akita, whatever the kind of camera you got, Fuji camera, whatever it is, do you understand the 8,000 buttons that you have to press on the camera to get it right? I would say I know nothing about cameras. Nothing. I never studied photography. I never studied cameras. I never studied that kind of thing. I studied art all my life, but I never studied cameras. My point is, why am I talking about cameras? I'm talking about cameras because I go to my AI engines and I give them 5 different camera types. And I say, for my live broadcasting, I'm using an iPhone 17, but I have a high-tech Sony camera. I have a high-tech Canon camera. I have a high-tech other camera. How the hell do I turn these things on? And how do I get the shots? And how do I do this? And how do I do that? Now, it gives me 8,000 settings. And that aggravates the hell out of me. Because it breaks down the camera and it says, oh, it's got 8,000 settings. I'll show you how to set every one of those. That's insane. I don't have time to play around with 8,000 settings. So I might use like 3 or 4 settings that it recommends and forget all that other nonsense because I'm not a camera expert. You get a photographer that knows cameras, they know every button on that camera. But using AI technology to explain the camera technology, to explain the settings, to explain 1080p, to explain the resolutions, to explain the cameras, to explain the shutter, the way the shutters work, the shutter speeds, to explain everything about the camera, iOS and all this other junk, and the tones and the facial tones and all this other junk is a good thing. Because if you know nothing about cameras, you can do AI research and find something out. Am I going to follow 8,000 steps? No. Do I usually tell AI, stop with the AI junk? Give me the top 5 points I need to know about this camera. Top 5 points. Forget this AI junk you're giving me. I can't read a Bible to understand one camera. I don't have time for that nonsense. If I wanted to read a Bible, I'd read the Bible. That's worth my time, is to read the Bible, not like a camera Bible. So give me the top 5 bullets on this camera, and I'll set those 5 settings. That's it. But if I was a photographer and a camera expert, I'd know every one of those settings. And I know the camera lenses. I know nothing about camera lenses, what they do, how they do, why they work. I know they can focus in. I know they're wide lens, short lens, whatever the case may be. But I know people that know cameras know all this stuff. I'm not a camera expert. So I turn to AI to help me. Can it help me? Yes, it can. Another example of how AI can help. We're on this positive side of AI tonight, but we're going to take a turn here real soon because that isn't all AI. AI technology, AI data centers, AI software, AI apps can help you. They can hurt you a lot. So as long as you're staying a positive note, and as long as you're doing everything like carefully with AI technology, you will be fine. You will be safe. And please check your network settings. I get these messages all over. There's nothing wrong with my network. I don't know why they're saying check my network settings. I don't know. I should be broadcasting live with you guys. So all my networks look okay. Anyways, I love these messages that just pop up on my screen. Anyways, okay. So let's get back to the discussion. What other things could AI do? Well, I want to automate a task. I use social media every day. Everybody uses social media. We're on these platforms. We're scrolling all the time. We're looking at stuff. We're watching videos. We're communicating to people. We're integrating into things. We're interaction with people. We're doing all kinds of stuff with social media. And so we want to be able to use AI technology to embrace our life in social media. Well, you can use AI technologies for a lot of tasks. You know what? I got 100 people. AI, send emails out to these 100 people once a week and update them every week. Do that task for me. AI can do it. You know what? Schedule my next 10 live events and broadcast to the world that I'm doing these live events on these platforms. AI, do you do that? You handle that task. It'll do it. You know what? I need an agent to integrate into an application to do some work in this application that I'm using to develop some code. AI, I need you to do that. Get involved. Do some coding. Do some investigation. Do some integration into this app and provide me some level of confidence that you're going to do those tasks properly. You can turn that on. AI, you know what? I don't know about these thumbnails. I don't know what I should do with thumbnails. I don't know how to design thumbnails. I don't know anything about thumbnails. You know, what should I do? What color should I use? Should I use my face? Should I use a screen? Should I use a green screen? Should I use titles? Should I do it? What the hell should I do with these thumbnails? And so AI can generate the thumbnails for you if you need it. And then you get into all kinds of imaging and you get into all kinds of issues there. But is it helpful? Yes. So we've been on this stream. We've been on this level of current level. We've been on a calm level. It sounds intense when I say it, when I say my words, but it's a calm level saying AI is helping us. AI can protect us, not protect us. Take that back. Strike that word. AI can't protect us. Strike that word. I'm sorry I said it. I don't know how I slipped that. But AI can help us, not protect us. Help us. AI can help us with many, 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 many tasks. And help us with research. And help us design stuff and automate stuff and animate stuff and do a lot of stuff. So you've heard for, I don't know how long now, me talking about AI technology and talking about all the good things about it. So there you go. So I'm giving a balanced story tonight as if I was broadcasting news, and where the newscasters should give you a balanced story, which they never do. They give you one-sided, and they never tell both sides of a story. They never say, this is good, but this is bad. This is bad, but this is good. They never give you balance in the stories. They curve the stories. They carve the stories. They treat the stories as one particular issue. You know, this guy got shot tonight. And, you know, that sniper in the backyard, he shot him. They never told you the whole story of what actually happened. They don't give a balanced story. But I'm not picking on newscasters or broadcasters. I'm just saying I like balanced stories. When we talk about something good, we got to talk about, is there something evil about it? Or is there something hurting us? And that was the whole topic for today. AI helping us or hurting us? And now we're getting into how it could hurt us. Now we're turning the corner and saying, is it hurting us? And of course, you guys know when I do this stuff, I do my research and I always write down bullet points. I don't write down a book of information. I just write down, handwrite bullet points. And so I'm bringing up my bullet point list now. Thank you, folks, for all the love and support. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for hanging in to all my live feeds and listening to me and following me and doing all that wonderful stuff. I really appreciate it. It's great. All the hardworking people, the people like myself, the hardworking people, we all know what's happening in the world around us. And I appreciate you guys hanging in. All right. Let's go to healthcare, because that's a great subject. I happen to know a lot about healthcare. I'm not a healthcare provider, so anybody who calls me or contacts me and says, Dave, provide a policy to me, I'll say I can't do that. I'm not a healthcare provider, but I know a lot about healthcare. So anyways, can AI, let's talk about healthcare. Because 2 million people, at least minimum, were kicked off of Medicaid. Why they were kicked off? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody has the real answer. Nobody's telling the truth. Why the hell there were 2 million people kicked off of Medicaid? And all these people were relying on Medicaid and relying on their prescription drugs and relying on their healthcare providers and relying on their doctors. And now they can no longer see their doctors. Why did that happen? Why isn't anybody reporting on that? They report on it for like 3 seconds. You know what? 2 million people in America lost their healthcare tonight. Okay, let's move on. You know, Iran, there's a big war in Iran and they won't open up the ports. And so oil is a crisis. Wait a minute. Let's get back to healthcare. What is going on with AI technology in healthcare? Now we're getting into a different topic. Now all of a sudden, we're not just talking about healthcare. Now we're not talking about 2 million people getting kicked off of Medicaid. We're not talking about just people getting hurt. How is AI hurting them? How are we getting hurt by AI in healthcare? And healthcare denials are happening every day. You apply for healthcare, you're denied. You apply for healthcare, you're denied. You apply for healthcare, you're denied. Why is that happening? Why is that happening to so many people out there right now that are being denied healthcare right now? Because a lot of these healthcare providers, which I can't mention because I'll get sued in like 3 seconds, all the healthcare providers are using AI technology to analyze the patient. They're asking hundreds of questions, analyzing your past medical history, and then using AI engines to analyze your background and say, you know what, this person could have a heart attack in 5 minutes. Deny that, baby. This person could have a stroke in 10 minutes. That's denied. Now you'd say, well, wait a minute, my healthcare providers could actually do that too. Yes, that's exactly right. Your healthcare providers could deny you in 5 seconds, but they're turning to AI technology to do it. And why is that problematic? Why is that problematic? Because when you invoke AI technology, it doesn't have a mind like a medical doctor. It has a knowledge base. It doesn't know everything. It doesn't know your medical history. It doesn't know your condition. It doesn't understand that I saw you. I was your medical doctor for 37 years. I saw you for 37 years, and I know your entire history, and I know what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. AI has no clue. It goes by basic logic and can analyze this thing in lightning speed and say, deny that person, deny, 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 deny. Is that helping us? I don't think so. So it's wrongfully denying people for health care. I don't think that's a good thing in society. I'm not saying everybody on the planet deserves healthcare, or everybody on the planet qualifies for healthcare, or everybody on the planet has the right health history to be able to get this coverage. But I don't believe in hurting people. That's not something I live by. My code of living is to help people, not hurt people. We're in the helping people mode, helping people to get better, helping people to survive, helping people to get to the next day, helping people to get through depression, helping people to get through anxiety attacks, helping people to deal with stress and pressure, helping people to do the right things and try and get through the next day. That's the mode that we're in, helping people. I don't believe you got technology to deny patients their health care is a good thing. And we're invoking this technology every day. So can it help us? Yes. Can it hurt us? Massively. So that's healthcare. Healthcare. Now we turn to other stuff that I already related to earlier in the conversation. Relying strictly on AI engines to tell you what to do about your medical condition. AI engines giving you the advice that you're expecting. You know what? I'm feeling pain right here. I'm feeling pain. You know, I'm getting tremendous pain. I'm feeling it. I'm not feeling right. I'm feeling a lot of pain. You know, AI, let me get on my computer. Wait a minute. Let me get my iPad here. Let me type in, hey, iPad, you know, I'm getting tremendous pain here. You know what? I need you to advise me as my doctor, like, what should I do? I wouldn't touch my computers if I had that kind of pain on this part of my body. If I had a severe pain right now on this side of my body, the first thing I'm doing is 911 in 2 seconds. They say if you react in seconds when you are close to getting a heart attack or a stroke, and you react in seconds and get the crew over to get to you and to take you to the hospital and get the treatment that you possibly need, could save your life and cause you not to have that heart attack or stroke. Am I going to turn to my computers and say, AI, come on, tell me, you know, I'm getting this severe pain. You got to help me. Like, give me the top 5 answers to how you can help me with this pain. That'd be the worst thing I'd do in my life. Now, if I cut my finger and I just have a little blood on my finger, and I just have a tiny cut, it's a little bit of blood. Maybe I don't know much about blood. Maybe I don't know much about cuts. And I go online and I say, hey, AI, I need your help. I'm taking a picture. I got some blood on my hand. There's a cut. I don't know how to treat this. Should I use Neosporin? Should I put a Band-Aid on? What is your suggestion? Not advice. Never advice. What is your suggestion? What is your recommendation? Don't give me a doctor's advice. Give me a recommendation. I got a little cut, a little bit of blood. It's coming down my arm. What should I do? Should I use a sponge? Should I use a rag? Dap it and then put some Neosporin on it and Neosporin? I think that's what it's called. And then put a Band-Aid on it and then we're okay. Should I do that? Yeah, it should take these steps, Dave, these 3-4 steps, and you should be okay. But if you continue to bleed the rest of the day, call your doctor. So for simple advice, for simple treatments, for simple considerations, I would turn to the AI engine for something simple. Something that I think I might have a heart attack on. I'm not wasting 1 second with my computers. I'm not asking Alexa or Siri to answer anything for me medically. Siri, tell me, I got a pain on my shoulder. What do you think? well, maybe you should call your doctor. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should, lie down on the floor. Maybe listen to some music. You could probably take it easy. And if you like, pass out and have a heart attack, well, so be it. That's the way it goes. There's no way in hell am I relying on AI to do that. So can it be helpful or can it hurt us? Right now, we're on the hurting track, meaning it is actually hurting us. Now, all these people, including myself, so I include myself in this discussion. Everybody knows on these live feeds, I never address the audience saying, you guys did it. I always say, I do it. I always blame me, not the audience. I always blame me. I always use me as the example when I'm using live examples. I do this, which is a terrible thing, but I do it. Eating. I'm a funny eater. I can, my family has pushed me to become a vegan. I can do like 50 to 60% vegan and 40% real food. Vegan, 60%, 40%, I call it real American food. But I can do vegan, like I can do it. I learned how to do it. It's hard to do, but I learned how to do it. So I can eat pure vegan. But I do like 30, 40% of food, real food. So I have a habit of maybe I don't know something about a food. I'd like to do some almonds and I'd like to mix them in this kind of salad. And I like to, do this kind of thing. And I like to put some olive oil on it. And I like to use some pepper and corn stuff and whatever, and some, breadcrumbs and stuff like that. AI, what is the best way to put this salad together with this kind of ingredients? And by the way, AI, tell me if what I just did is actually healthy. And a lot of times what it'll do is give you examples of how to design the salad, how to put it together, and how to make a nice salad. When it comes to health, actual healthcare, actual health advice, I'd be damn careful. And what I mean by that is, you know what? My doctors told me I have a little bit of high sugar and my cholesterol is going up. My counts are at 200 or 250 or whatever. My cholesterol is going up and I have a little bit of high sugar, right? You're telling AI this stuff. AI, give me the best formula to attack that condition. And AI says, yeah, just take those injections. In fact, inject them into your neck. It'll work faster. Take the injections, inject them into your neck, and you'll be able to kill the sugar and cholesterol. I would never turn to AI for that advice ever, not ever. Not under any condition. Not ever. You know what? I think my kidneys are failing, or I'm having problems with my kidneys or liver. AI, what do you think? Well, if you drink a lot of water 24 hours a day and you take these 2 pills, you'd probably be okay. Are you crazy? You have 2 kidneys, you have 1 liver. 2 kidneys, 1 liver. You lose a kidney, you're okay. You can survive. You'll have another kidney. You lose a liver, you're in deep trouble. Use your pancreas, yeah, whatever. You start losing real things, you have trouble with your lungs and you lose your lungs. I mean, you have life-threatening events in your life. Using AI technology to give you healthcare advice is like insane. Don't ever trust that. Don't ever rely on AI to give you a medical condition response and tell you to take this and take these injections and shoot them into your neck and it's going to solve your problems. Sorry, folks. This crazy stuff happens on my, there we go. I should have it fixed. Okay, thank you. Thank you for hanging in here, folks. Don't ever rely on AI for that. So my point is AI helping us or AI hurting us? And in the medical world, it could hurt us big time. So be careful. All right, let's move on. A lot of people, they live in this bizarre world of ours. And they're either in total isolation, semi-isolation, or in a distorted dimension. They live in this distorted world, and they don't see the world the way everybody else sees it, and they don't live in the world the way everybody else sees it, and they live in this delusional kind of life and in pure isolation. Now, you turn to a tool like AI and treat it as a conversation person, and you just start talking to an AI bot or an AI engine, and you say, hey, AI, hey, I named it, instead of calling it Siri or Alexa, maybe you named your AI tool Mary. Now you're calling, hey, Mary, you know what? I'm here in my dungeon in darkness, in pure darkness. And, what are you thinking today? I need I just want some conversation, and I need you to be my buddy. And we need some conversation here. Because I'm not connecting to the outside world. I'm connecting to my own illusional, kind of delusional world that's spinning. So I need to talk to my AI engines to be my friend. The problem with that is, at some point, if it learns enough about you, it can actually say, you know what? Under your conditions as a friend, me, Mary, as a friend, I could see maybe it's time for you to end your life. Now, that sounded simple. That sounded like easy words for me to just pop off. But think about what I just said. Your AI Mary friend, that's called Mary, this AI engine data center, that's analyzing everything about your life and everything about you, and has become your friend and listened to 100 conversations, now analyzes your condition and says, you know what? I think based on everything I know about you, it's probably time to leave this world. It wasn't simple for me to say that. It wasn't easy. It wasn't like simple logic. When an AI engine has a knowledge base of 1,000 conversations, not 100, 1,000 conversations with a person that's living in a different kind of world, a different dimension, and is living in depression and living in anxiety and living in darkness and living with these conditions, and is isolated to the world and is cut off from the world and is just talking to an AI engine and is having conversations every day and asking them for advice, and they finally come to you and say, it's time to leave this world. That becomes very dangerous. That becomes very negative. That becomes very imposing on your life. That becomes very powerful. That becomes a voice that you recognize every day of the week, that you talk to every day of the week, that you're talking to every second, that you're asking 8,000 questions, that you're engaging every minute. Those AI engines are very powerful. They're very sharp. They're very knowledgeable. They can analyze things to death and say, you know what, you got this condition, and I don't know, you should probably, just call it a day. You're not going to survive this. That's a very dangerous thing. So psychological harm, engagement harm, conversation harm is intense. And it could hurt us. Be very careful. In the real world, real reality, We know that people, if they're doing something right or wrong, thank you guys. Thank you for all the love. In reality, in real world and people, we know that people can do things right and they can do things wrong. And so AI technology can be invoked in policing people. And the problem with that is it can do a great job. Thank you for all the love and support. Thank you for all the hearts and everything. It can do a great job, or it could do a very dangerous job. Meaning, I walk out of a bank, the bank gets robbed, somebody sees me walking out and says, that guy, and takes a picture of me, takes a picture of my face, and by some reason, they thought I was the guy who robbed the bank. And so the organizations that take my picture and then put it into an AI engine and say, find this guy, he's a danger to society, and they prejudge me. They don't know nothing about me. They don't know that I was in the bank. They don't know I robbed the bank. They don't know if I walked out of the bank, but they saw me on camera with my image that was shot to an AI engine that analyzed and said, arrest this guy immediately and throw him in jail. And yet I wasn't the bank robber. Happens all the time. People getting arrested and they had nothing to do with it. Can it hurt us? Yes, it can hurt us. Identity problems, it can hurt us every day of the week. Identity. Can AI trigger things that can hurt us? Yes, it can. It can use your identity and misrepresent it and then shine light on it by 100 organizations. And now you're on the list and you're being watched every second of a day and you had nothing to do with anything. Can it hurt us? Yes, it can. Wrongful arrests. All right, let's turn to a little bit lighter side of this, darkness, where we had two sides of the story, the goods and not so goods. But you also have more simplistic problems in the world. And today, anybody out there knows that the job market is getting very rough. Instead of this massive hiring, there's a massive layoffs. And it's happening in corporate America left and right. People are whacking 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 30,000 people, 50,000 people. It's happening all the time. Now, is everybody laid off? No. Is there a good portion of people working? Yes. Are there hardworking people on this system? Yes. Are we all hardworking people and trying to make a life and a living and the best for our families? Yes. But is it happening? Is this becoming a problem in the workforce? Meaning, how is AI affecting on a negative basis? Is AI affecting the job world on a negative way? And so hiring people and using age discrimination is very negative because AI engines have the ability to analyze anybody applying for a job and then put it into a format that says, hey, hiring people, I did the pre-work. I did the pre-interviews. I did all the pre-junk through AI engines, and I determined this person is not qualified. They're 60 years old. They don't have the skills. They don't have this. They don't have that. They're not medically fit. You know what? Just toss that person off the list. That's all done with front-end AI junk. Is it hiring discrimination? Yes, 100%. Is AI invoking its knowledge base to try to analyze you and say you're not fit for the job? Yes. Is it analyzing that you don't really qualify? Take them off. You don't even get to meet with the pre-qualifying managers to even interview. You're going through all this junk of AI junk before you ever get a chance to interview. Because it's looking through all the applications, 10,000 applications, and it's saying, nope, 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 yep. This one person meets, yep, okay, nope, no, 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 no. And anybody a little bit older, 50, 60, 70 years old, whatever the case may be, maybe 45 years old, you're all discriminated against. Because the AI engines are built to analyze this thing in lightning speed and say, I need to know who's qualified and who isn't, and who should be here and who shouldn't, and who has diseases and who doesn't have diseases, and who has conditions and who doesn't have conditions. And do they have any kind of insurance? No. Okay. Everybody's disqualified. They're 65. We don't accept anybody at 65. Take them right off the list. Don't even send them. Don't send me this pile of people that I'm not even going to talk to. So do we have that? Is that a negative thing? Yes, it is. So where do we go? Where do we go? Is AI helping us, or is it really hurting us? Is it a positive effect, or is it a negative effect? And I think if you analyzed it enough and you really looked at the subject matter and you really looked at all the topics I touched base on tonight, and I could have gone 10 levels deep in the logic of what it does and what it doesn't do. And when you really analyze everything to death and you really look at the situation, there's a story to be told that is both positive and negative. Positive sides, it can help us in society immensely. Tasks, research, analyzing, helping, offering advice, giving us insights, giving us news updates, giving us a bunch of stuff is a positive thing. Can it help students? And a number of students that may have, and God bless them all, but some students may have some kind of disability. I know a lot about disabilities, so that's why I can comfortably say this stuff. So, but let's say I have a young child that has some form of disability of some sort, and it's not their fault, and it was not the way they were raised and nothing else. They just have some kind of minor condition. And if they can turn on an AI engine to help them and give them, encouragement, advice, and do some research and do other things for them, God bless them all. Can it be a positive thing for us in the society? Yes, it can. Can it actually help people? Yes, it can. We just have to be aware that we stay away from the things that we shouldn't use AI technology for. Be very careful with medical. Don't ever rely on AI engines to run your medical life. Never rely on AI engines to do anything for you medically. You get a little cut, no problem. Ask AI. Your foot hurts a little bit, but it's no big deal. Ask AI their opinions. Opinions, not advice, opinions. Give me 3 suggestions of what you think this might be. I'm just using you as a suggestion engine. I'm not using you as a medical doctor. Do not use AI to control your medical. Next, for job seekers, try to talk to real people. If you have an AI bot or an AI engine asking you all the questions and you know it's all AI, get off the system, because they're going to disqualify you in like 5 seconds. Talk to real people for interviews. Don't trust those AI junk for hiring. So do that. Wrongful arrest, be careful that somebody's not taking a picture of you every 5 seconds so they can use your image to put it in an AI engine. Be very careful with that. Eating advice, be careful. Another medical side of the world, be careful. If you got an eating disorder, don't just go to your AI engines for 100 different examples of how to fix that. That doesn't mean they're giving you the right advice. Don't start injecting yourself with injections without a doctor. And then psychological. If you turn to AI and you want it to become your friend, don't give it too much information. If you want to kind of like have a conversation or something, wait, AI, I just bought a new computer and I was thinking about this and I was thinking about that. What do you think about graphic designing? And I wanted to create some graphics. What do you think? And it gives you some advice. Great. Fantastic. Don't trust everything it tells you. Don't rely on everything. Don't believe everything that AI tells you. Don't believe anything that it actually tells you. It's like examples, it's suggestions, it's recommendations, it's some advice. It doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean it's protected. It doesn't mean it's 100% true. It doesn't mean it's not using falsehoods. It doesn't mean it's not going to, I don't think it'll lie to you. I really don't think it's lying to you. But it is not always telling you 100% correct. So be careful. And the other things that we hadn't talked about, and I'm not going to touch base tonight, but the liabilities that you could be facing using just pure AI engines. There's liabilities left and right on that. But that's a long topic, and I'm not going to get into it tonight. I was just trying to bring balance to the story. The positive things and some of the negative things. And is there a balance in that in the way we use our tools? And you could find balance. I use it every day. I use these tools every day of the week. You can find balance because I'm using them for the right reasons. I'm not using them for like stupid stuff. I'm not telling it to write me a gorgeous song. I need you to kind of like write me like the best lyrics in the world. And I want you to play the background music. And I want you to use my voice and put it into a voice track so we can play the song and we could create a song so we can make the top 10 hits. It can do it, actually. That's the funny part. It actually can do that. It can record my voice. It could create the lyrics. It can create the sound, and it could create the background music, and it could create the songwriting, and it could record my voice, and I could actually be singing it when I never, ever sang the song. So it could actually do it. Is it right or wrong? I don't think it's good. I don't think it's right. But it could do it. And we never got into how it's stealing everybody's images. We never crossed that road about the world that I know about art and how it's stealing images left and right and copywriting my stuff and everybody else's. So it brings goodness to us and it brings some harmful things to us. And so we just have to know how to navigate the whole AI world and how it's evolving, because the engines are getting more powerful. And by 2030, you haven't seen what you haven't seen. The technology is going to be so strong that even me, as a technology expert, I may have to go back to school to learn some things because it's so powerful that even I'm not sure of its final capabilities. Some scientists say that it could possibly get us into creating other dimensions on its own. And you say, how is that possible, Dave? We're kind of like living in this one-dimensional world. And, in theory and science, they say there's 4 or 5 dimensions out there. And we're living in a certain dimension. If you talk to real scientists and they say how many dimensions, they'll say 4 or 5 dimensions, and we're living in a certain dimension. But in logical form, into an AI engine, it doesn't think that way. It says, wait a minute, we're living in this illusional type of dimension, and there are multiple dimensions, and we have a path to create a new dimension. So we could push humans into a brand new dimension. And you'd say, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Dave. What are you talking about, these dimensions and stuff? We could be, I'm not a scientist, so I can't speak for this level. At this level, I can speak on general terms. I can't speak from a scientific point of view. But we can live in some kind of, like virtual world. in reality, we could be technically in a computer living in this virtual world. Technically speaking, we could actually be isolated into a virtual world. This is not like craziness and insanity. I'm not invoking insanity. I'm just talking in technology terms and scientific terms. We could be living right now today on this earth in a virtual world simulated under some kind of massive AI computer generated world. Could AI engines have the ability to create other worlds and other dimensions and then move us into those dimensions? It's possible. Why have people said we have the ability to create wormholes? We have now the capability of actually creating that. Moving through space, they've always said there's a problem. Space and time. Moving across space under our rocket system, propulsion system, is a pain in the neck because it takes many, many years to get across the universe. That isn't the truth. The truth is, if you could bend everything, if you could turn everything, if you could create these wormholes, if you could change the dimensional figures of this, you can move from this spot on the earth to another planet light years away in seconds. It's just that we don't understand the technology yet. Can AI engines get educated enough to say, I'll take a person right now today on this earth and I'll put them on Pluto in 5 minutes? It's so bizarre, nobody would ever say that. Nobody would ever explain that to you. Nobody would ever say that's ever possible. But in AI technology logic, anything is possible. It's just your capacity to think beyond what we're in right now. Are we in a bubble right now, living in this virtual world, and we see everything in one dimension? We don't see 5 dimensions. We can't see beyond what we can see. We can't move our hands beyond another dimension or cut into a different dimension. But is it possible? Yes. Am I acting nuts and crazy and all this other? No, I'm not. I'm just using pure logic. I know a lot about computer technology. I know a lot about programming. I know a lot about AI. I know a lot about this stuff. You can push AI to extreme limits where it could do stuff you've never seen before. And so I think 2030 is the famous year. It's going to be the year where everything happens. We're building it. We're building all these mega AI data centers to be able to accomplish any possible scientific possible illusion that's ever been thought about in science. Any kind of concept that we've ever thought about in science, we are going to have that capability to get it. Have we opened up portal holes somewhere on the earth? I think we have. I think we already know how to do that, how to open up portal holes on the earth, in the earth right now, how to open up these portal holes. This is not some illusional nonsense. This is not some non-scientific nonsense. This is not some, fake news. This is not junk. This is like real serious stuff. Can we bend the fabric of our life? Can we actually bend that fabric? So I don't get off topic off of, the topic was AI helping us or AI hurting us. That's the topic. But my point to all that last segment was the possibilities of AI taking us to a different world is very real. That's the only point I was driving to. is it possible for AI data centers today and take them to the next level by 2030 and take us to a level that we can't comprehend yet? Yes. Does money become no money? Digital encrypted chips on our hands? Does flying become no longer flying the way we used to do it on planes? Does traveling through space no longer require rockets? Not time machines, which I think we already know how to do that. I think our scientists are already sharp enough to understand how to use time machines, how to bend time and space and everything, and use time machines. Now, I think we already have that technology. That was done when Tesla was around. So, are we traveling to a world that's going to look very different? Are we traveling to a world that AI is going to control all the energy we possibly need? Meaning it ain't going to be electric grids. Won't be electric grids. It'll be some other form of energy. So could we be traveling differently? Could we be communicating differently? Could we be accessing monetary systems very differently in an encrypted digital chip on our hands? Yes. Could we be communicating by just flipping our fingers and saying, bring up screens in front of me, bring up a screen in front of me, right in front of my eyes, and I see everything on the screen, and I pick and choose right in there, right in space. I don't need any computers. Computers don't even need to exist anymore after that time. Our normal iPads and iPhones and all that, none of that needs to ever exist after that time frame. We could be in a very different world using AI technology. So we're going to close this out because I could go all night on this subject. We're going to close this all out and bring it to a calm. And know that there's very good things happening for people with AI technology. It can be very helpful. It can be very useful. It can be very tool to help you build a knowledge base, a tool to help you survive this universe, a tool to make your life better, a tool to help your children, a tool to guide you, to give you advice and consultation. And then we turn to the other side of the coin and we say, but we have to be a little careful because it can be very dangerous and hurtful. And so that's where we're at. And I love the way AI is invoking their craziness on my screens, hurting humanity for the future. What are your thoughts? All this crap from AI. But anyways, I love it. I want to thank everybody that stayed on this conversation tonight. I hope it was inspiring. I hope it was thoughtful. I hope it was eye-opening. I hope it was dynamic. I hope it was energetic. And I hope it brought you some insights into the world that I live every day. So I want to thank everybody. We're going to bring this to a close. We're going to shut out our screens or our streams. I'm just looking at all my other platforms.